Hello, hello, hello. We are back. This is week 24 of hashtag Altered Index 2025. As a reminder, here was last week's. Last week's prompt was time. This week we are steampunk. So these came out of my steampunk digital kits that I'd already printed out. As I mentioned last week, um, I have them out. I don't remember. I'll have to go back in and look through all of my digital purchases to figure out who the designer was. Um, I just haven't. I just haven't. I was kind of hoping to wake up today to better news about little Miss Ellie, but there's been no movement on her case thus far. So, I have some stuff over here. I've got two different die cuts that I've assembled previously when I was making my steampunk journal. And again, if you're into steampunk and you would like to check out the journal, I do have a playlist for it. It's called Steampunk It Up, and that's kind of a walkthrough as a start to finish, so to speak, of the journal. And then it is available for sale on my Etsy shop if you're interested in purchasing it. So I have some of the digital stuff. I have some die cuts. Of course, got my index card. I have some book page. I have some blank that I'm going to use on the back of a tag. And then my steampunk digital kit. So let's get this ball a rolling. Oh, and I need a glue page. You know what? I'll just use the book. So I'm going to start by gluing this entire page to the index card. And that's just because I want some lettering in the background. I want the old look to it in the background. It's funny, this paper's got holes in it. Use this book for so many different things. The holes are because I've used this book to put holes in my signatures. So I don't know if you'll be able to see on the camera, but if you look really, really close, you see all those tiny little holes. That's just using the book as a backdrop to the ice pick, the hole punch that I cannot seem to find. I lost it, I don't even, months ago. I was crafting along. I used it to put the holes in the binding. And then it disappeared and I haven't seen it since. I thought for sure that when I was cleaning up the room for when my kids were coming that I would locate it. But it never appeared, so I don't know. The only thing I can think is it actually fell back here behind my table. But I don't know. I don't know if it's worth it to me, with my back and stuff, to climb under there and try to find it. So I started out with these two. So this is a die set and it cuts it in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17 pieces. And you glue them all together. Now, my first one, when I pulled out, was the black and white. And I was like, that's kind of cool. But then I couldn't really decide on a background that I liked. And then I was like, as I continued to dig through my little envelope of stuff that's all there, little stuff that ends up on my desk, like this, ends up over in that envelope, and I pull from it every now and again. But I knew I had this one in that envelope. I didn't know I had this one. So when I found the brown one, I was like, brown it is. We're going to go with the neutral, because with the black and white, I was finding I was kind of pulling myself toward wanting black and gray in the background. And I didn't have anything black and gray other than book page. And I didn't want to waste my wink. I didn't want to waste my ink printing out these in grayscale. So with the gray and white, or browns, I was like, yes, I can do that. Oh, so this is a trick when you're tearing paper. You can see this little white edge here. If you don't want that, tear away from you, and the white edge will be on the piece you're tearing off. So this is just so I can get some, I'm going to do some collaging with these little pieces around it, which is why I wanted the book page in the background, because I want some book page shining throughout. Now these were on a one of the digital kits that I purchased. And like I said, I don't remember who it was. Just tearing off most of the straight edges. I don't mind one straight edge if it's going to be going onto a straight edge, which in this case it will be. And as you can see, I'm tearing these in just random shapes. Some of them may overlap, some of them may not. I should have tore that straight edge down. That's all right. Ouch. Well, that is a downside to this book. The pages are very thin. And as you just saw, it stayed glued, which is not necessarily a bad thing. It could give it a kind of a neat effect. This is going to go kind of sort of in the middle, so watch, I'll stick it where there's book page. It's not going to do it now. Tears a little bit of the book off. This is going to go in the center, so I want to make sure that these little I'm going to to leave that. So these are going to add to my scrap box. In fact, I'm going to put them in the basket for this particular challenge. So who knows? Might need it later on. This will go back into my steampunk folder. But while I've got it out, I'm going to look for something to decorate this little tag with. Start with the stuff that I've already got cut out. Let's pull all this out. Because, I mean, if I can avoid fussy cutting while recording, I would prefer that. Now, this is not all one digital kit. It's several, I think it's actually like 4 different digital kits in this envelope. So I'm looking for something that's going to fit on. Where'd my little tag go? Where'd my tag go? Oh, there it is. I totally buried it. That's going to go on here nicely. Now, she stands out right away, but so those are a little long. I got all these. I'll put these aside. These are tags from a kit that I purchased. Oh, let's not get everything stuck to the glue book. Those I'm just going to separate out here. Things that I know I'm not going to use on this. Things that I know I'm not going to use because they're too big. I really like these. This was another digital kit. Some pretty ladies. That's too big. Oh. Just a little wide. And have these, definitely too wide. Like I said, getting all the big stuff out of the way. That brings that blue in. See, I told you I had a ton of clocks. It's too wide. Too wide. Whoop. And I dropped stuff. Those are all tags. Let me pick up what I just dropped. Get these all back in the folder and out of my way. Okay, I do like her on here. I'd have to cut off just a little bit of the back of her hat, which I'm kind of okay with. I do have these blue elements. And it's too big for that. I love the butterfly, but not in this case. Oh, that was way too big. I do like the rose with the blue leaves, but maybe this way. Nope, that blends into her neck too much. Feather blends in. See, I'd rather have something blue back there. We could do this. I could have swore I had a little rose in there. So let me go through these again off camera real quick. But quick is a relative word because I'm doing it in my lap, and yeah. See, I knew I had a little rose. I knew I had a little rose. I'm still thinking under her hat because I really like her hat to be showing. Okay, so I am going to cut this off. And these will go back in. I mean, I could have gone with something like this that's a little more, harsh. But since the under part of my thing is going to be a heart, I kind of wanted it to be a little more on the feminine side. Okay. Now, oop, didn't put that away. Now we're going to get out my dauber. And my ink is already on my desk. We're going to do some inking while we're stuck my fingers in it. Now I could back this tag, which it's not going to be a writable surface, so I'm actually going to back it with this. Ooh, that's way more glue than I needed. That's okay. That's a good lesson too. You know, usually you'll glue the smaller piece when you're gluing two pieces together. You glue the smaller, put the glue on the small piece. That way you don't end up with excess glue on that paper like I do. Trim. That hole puncher again. So if you have not seen my updated community tab, there are now pictures of the vehicle that picked, oh, sorry, I had an itch, that picked Ellie up from school. I'm asking again, anybody watching this, if you know people in the Seattle area, please share the information. That's where this guy, at least that's where he said he was from. We can hope that he wasn't smart enough to lie about that. And that's actually, you know, actually where he's at. And that means that's where she's at. She has now been listed on the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. She has a case number. And Spokane Police are working with Seattle Police to try to identify the person. I did read in the comments, people were trying to guess, trying to figure out what kind of vehicle, and somebody said it looks like a 1998 Toyota Tacoma with a canopy on the back. The canopy has luggage racks on top, and it's got decals on the back window. Sorry, I needed a drink. Now, I could have, as I was doing this, I panned my eye over and I'm like, oh, I still have some of this. That would have been cool to back that with too, but that's okay. Let's take a peek though and see if there's anywhere See, my eye was itching. I itched it and now it's burning. Okay, now we're on the tag. What about on here? So this is going to be cockeyed a little bit because if I put it straight, then it's like right on the edges and this little pipe ends up being cut off. I don't want that, so I'm going to cock it just a little bit. Let's see if I want some of this behind it. No, I think I like it just the way it is. So I'm going to throw that out. I do have my glue. It's very thick. This is from my last bottle. As you can see, I've replaced my bottle. This is the glue that was left over in the bottom of that. So it's very thick because it's been exposed to air. Now I can thin this with acetate, but since I don't paint my nails, as I've said on a video before, you know, when my husband was asking about acetate, I don't have any. My husband had mineral spirits in the garage. I Googled to see what mineral spirits, how it would interact with silicone glue, and it said that it would thin it out. And I only put a like a little teaspoon worth for that much glue, and it thinned it ever so slightly. So I think I'm, but I didn't want to like put a bunch in there straight out the gate. But I think at this point I could definitely add a little bit more in there and see what happens. But I'm not adding any new glue to it. So if it ruins that little tiny bit that's left, then, you know, that's okay. I'm okay with that. We got this that I know goes. I'm like trying to find a spot on this very thin paper. This. Put that right there. And then my lady. So yes, this little bit of her hat gets cut off, but I think that's perfectly fine. It looks good in my book. You know what I think would be fun? Let's do this. Let's get my gold ink out. Go around the tag with some gold. the same thing. I'll go around my card here. Then I'm going to get one of these. Little bulb pins. I was contemplating on whether or not to put an eyelet in this, but I gotta punch my little holes out here. Pin. And I can get it on there. There we go. There is our week 24 steampunk journal. Next week is solitude. I have to spend a little bit of time trying to figure out how I'm going to capture solitude on a card, on a collage. But there we go. So thanks for tuning in. I appreciate the viewers. I appreciate the subscribers. My analytics are showing that more subscribers are watching, but still 63% of my viewership is non-subscribed viewers. So please hit the subscribe button and make sure you got that notification bell set to all so that you know when my videos drop. Do all those other YouTube things, the likes, the shares, and you know, feel free to leave a comment below. And just to, you know, keep an eye out if you live in or around the Seattle area. Please keep an eye out for Miss Ellie. If you know people that live in that area, please get that information out to them so we can get this girl home to her mom. Thanks for watching, and we will catch you in the next video. Bye. Peace out.